Shalom Aleichem, sweetest friends. This year should be a special schus for Moshe Gabriel ben Yehudis, Uvachol Mishpachto, and for Reb Yisrael Daniel ben Shani Dina, Lebracha Batzlacha, V'chol Masei Yoda, Uvachol Mishpachto, and for Reb Avram Shraga ben Malka Esther, Lebracha Batzlacha, V'chol Masei Yoda, Uvachol Mishpachto. We're going to be learning Siyata B'Shmaya, the sugya of Dina, the Machusa Dina, very interesting sugya. The shaila here that was asked to Hagoyin Rav Nosson B'Shtetner Zatzal by the famous Tziyeshnev Rav Shraga Reuben Halberstam lived in Brooklyn. So he asked Rav B'Shtetner in 1972 about Reuven, who rented his apartment to Shimon in New York for 2 years. And Shimon lived there 4 years. And now Reuven has a lot more kids. One of his kids, Rahman al-Islam, is ill, and he needs a larger apartment. And therefore, Reuven demands that Shimon leave the apartment. And Shimon says, sorry, Charlie, or sorry, Reuven, but according to United States law, New York State law, you cannot force me to leave this apartment. The question is, who's right? Do we follow Dina the Malchusa Dina and force him out of the apartment or not? So, first of all, we have to discuss if there is Dina the Malchusa Dina in an instance where there's not a king. Rather, as we have in America, it's a democracy where people choose the leaders. So the Rosh in Idarim at Chavchesam and Aleph writes, "V'hainu time of the Dina Dina, she'eretz shalohi." ואף הדיוט שיש לו קרקע, כך דינו, שלא יענה אדם מארצו אלא מדייתו ומקצבסו. So Pshat and Dina Malchusa Dina is that the land is his if he's the king. And even a Hediot who has karka, his din is that nobody is allowed to be maneh from his land. Only midaita, only according to the agreement and willingness of the king. In other words, when somebody owns land there, so it's only because the king agreed. It's up to him, it's his land. So, therefore, everything follows his rules. You're in his land. Like many a father has said, you're in my house, you follow my rules. You're in my land, you follow my rules. So according to that, even if the king captured the land, we also say Dina the Malchusa Dina because we see in Gideon famously that we're now allowed to capture Ammon and Moab, but Ammon and Moab threw the Sichon. Once Sichon captured it, then we're allowed to capture it. Ammon and Moab threw the Sichon. So how did it become Torah from Sichon when Sichon captured it? The answer is that a Goy is kind of a Kibush Mulchama. A Goy is able to be Kona when he captures it at war. However, the Shita Mukubetzis in the Darim, and the Chavchesam and Aleph, writes, "Behind the time of the Dina Dina, Sheretz Shalohi, ve'eno Rishai Lamed Ba'atzel b'mitzvaso, aber in Kotzeb al Malchus Shena Shaloi, shekosher b'gezel ki the Sikrikun, the Gittin, v'yadim Shena Chofetz Lamed Ba'atzel, lav kol kaminei l'migzalei." U'koloshan hazeh kotzav v'orzaru alav avakama, simin taf mem zayin. So writes the Shita Mekubetzes that the reason Dina the Malchusa Dina is because the land belongs to him, and a person can only be there b'mitzvaso, with his command. He has to agree. But if he captured it b'gazel, or like we have the Sikrikon in Gittin and Hayam and Aleph, who capture b'gazel, they capture land b'gazel. They have no right to do so. They have no right to capture it, and therefore, it's not going to be Dina the Malchusa Dina. It has to be yours rightfully so, but not by Gezel. The kasha is that the Rashba Gittin says on Chesam and Aleph that a goy can be Kona Adei Cheskes Kibush Mulchama. And therefore it says that Amon Umorav Tir B'Sichon. So when the king captures another land B'Gezel, so he's Kana Idei Kibush. When Mela Dina Din, since the land belongs to him. So what on earth is the Shita Mugabetzah is talking about? Here is a Ruah. You see that you're allowed to capture Kibush Milchama. So what's the problem? It could very well be that we can answer based on what the Chasam Sofer writes in the Tshuvas in Yerodei and some in Yud that Ammon and Moab, Tir B'Sichon, that Ammon and Moab weren't allowed to be captured, not because Sichon captured, not allowed to be captured, that they captured it, Sichon captured it, B'Cheskes Kibush Milchama, we've seen Sanhedrin and Tess, that Akum Lav B'nei Kibush, and Rashi says, Shelo Nitna Eretz, the Kibush Kim Yisrael. Only Jews are allowed to capture land. So how's a Goy Kona B'Kibush Milchama? And so asks the Binyan Ariel, Parashas Balak, and the Hagos Yaibitz, and the Rashash and Sanhedrin. So the Chasam Sofer wants to answer that it's correct that Lechatchila, the land wasn't given for Kibush Al Yidei Akum. Nevertheless, if he was Oiver V'Kovesh, he's Kona B'Kibush, like a Gazlan who's Kona B'Gzela, even though it's not a Heter Lechatchila. Nevertheless, he's Kona B'Yesh, and so it's the Chasam Sofer, in his Chedushim Begin on Amar Ches Amar Aleph, and in his Sefer Torah's Moshe and Parashas Chukas U'Be'emes, that is what emerges from Rabbeinu Tam in his Sefer HaYashar and Sof Sim and Tafresh Sadi Tes. He explains that a Goy is Kona B'Kibush Milchama, that even though Karka is not Nigzeles, so he says it's like Toyu of Zavim, Zvine, it's like since someone's forced to make a sale and he gets the money, so he sells it. The sale is a good sale. Agav Umseim Gomer Makne. Because of the onus, he's Makne. So even though one is not allowed to be Ma'anis him, one is not allowed to force, but if he did, then the person's Makne. And that's the Yisoid Cheskas Kibush Milchama Shel Akum. So now we can say that that's the reason we don't say Dina L'Malchus Dina when the king captures the Gezel, because Kol Iker Kinyanu Shel HaMelech is only because the Nigzal Gamor Makni Lo Insai. It's only because he's makne, he's forced to be makne it La Unso. And if so, the Nigzal is only makne to the king, what he has to be in order to save himself from death. But what the Nigzal can be machzik for himself secretively, without the idea of the Melech, B'vadai, he's not makne. And therefore, he has no chiyuv Mekayim Mitzvahs HaMelech, as long as he can do in private against the king. Because he was never makne to the king things that were hidden, only Dvarim Shebegaloi, only things that the king could see. But the Schuyos Shebesefer, he kept for himself. What he hid, he kept for himself. So now we understand the Rishonim will say that if the king captured the land B'Gezel, there's no Dina de Malchus Dina. Because if there's Dina de Malchus Dina, then it would be usher to steal from the king, even bechashai, like we see, even privately, even secretively, like we see in Baba Kama and Daf Kuf Yud Gimel Amud Aleph, that you're now allowed to be mavriach b'neches, now allowed to hide from the taxes, medina the Malchus Dina. But when the king captured the Eretz b'derech Gezel, so it's mutter to have riach es hameches, because in Exalim did not. The people were only makne to the king what they needed to be in order to save themselves from death. But that's Dvarim Shebegalui. But Havrachas Meches, that's Bechashai, that's secretive, so that they will never, that's schus they left for themselves. So you can understand how the Rishonim will say that you're allowed to, if it was taken Begezel, is no Dina L'Malchus Dina, because whatever you can hide, you hide. So the Rosh said the reason Dina the Malchus Dina is because the land belongs to him. And a person's only allowed to be there k'mitzvaso. So huadin b'medina she'ein ba melech, a country that doesn't have a king. Just the nation chose their rulers. Zman l'zman, like we have in America and in Israel, in democratic countries, you choose them from time to time. And they're shluchim of the people. So we can say that all the people are the bailim of that Medina. Kook has a similar chiddush famously in the Mishpat Kohen, I think it's in Kufman Dalit. So it's like a Beis Knesset of Krachim. The Beis Knesset in this big town, Rashi says, that in Megillah Chavav Amid Aleph, that Hakol Ba'aleim, Ubehemes, we can be Medame, Dina, the Beis Knesset Shel Kfarim, because the Medina is Nivnes, Umuchzekes, Al Yidei Kol Toshvea. A Medina is built and supported by all of its citizens. Rashi writes in Yuma, Yudbeis Amid Aleph, at Beis Knesset Shel Kfarim, not of a big city, but a shul of a village called Baal of Nikarim, where you know all the Bailam are. It's like a Beis HaShutfin. Since all the Toshvei HaMedina are Nikarim, because they're all written down in the census, so everybody's like a Shutuf. And they can be ma'akev on somebody not to go against the Chukim. So we have this big Shutfus in America. We have 300 million people plus, and they're all Shutfim in the Medina. And they can be ma'akev and say to somebody, hey, you're not allowed to go against our Medina, like we have in Choshen Mishpat and Siman Kufa, Samach Aleph, Beis and Gimel, Farim Shebnei Chatzav Ramov, Avir Koifim Zalzah, since you can force each other, people in the same courtyard, etc. Let's see, it's Kuf Samach Gimel, Sif Aleph, that a roiv could be koif the Yochid Lasses, Ketakanos, so it's Pashut, that in Medina also, that the people chose, so they can force, and so people to keep the law. And so it comes out from the Shita Mekuvetz and Darim, and the Choches and Aleph, who writes, V'hu Adin, V'chol Hediotos Sheba Olam, that if they were made a rule that nobody should be nanning in their land unless they say so, their din is din. So, just like the Hediotos can do it, so too can in Medina with a president. A democratic country can also do it. So there would be Dina L'Machus Dina, even without an actual king. The Rashbam in Bava Basra and in Dalet Amid Beis writes, explaining the reason Dina L'Machus Dina, Kol Misim V'Arnonios U'Minhagos Shal Mishpatei HaMelachim Sheregilim Lahanig B'Malchusam Dinahu Shekol B'nei HaMalchus Mekablim Alem Meratzonam Chukei HaMelech U'Mishpatov V'Hilkach Din Gamorhu. So all of the taxes and the customs of the kings that they are accustomed to leading their subjects is din, because all of the people in this kingship, all the subjects of this king, all the people in this area, in this country, are makabel me'ratzon chukei hamelech u'mishpatav, and therefore it's din gamor. The Rambam writes similarly, so what's pshat with the king whose coin went out, that he's the king? What they used to do when you have a king, his coin has his picture on it. Because the people there agreed. And there was samich das that he is their master and they are his subjects. Otherwise, if he does, his coin didn't go out, then he's like a gazlan. Baal Zroi is like a chaburis listim zuyanim. She'ein dineim din v'chein melech zeh v'chol avad of gazlan. They're all a bunch of gazlanim. But if on Be'er Yatza, then it is a haskam of the Bnei Dina, and they are his subjects. So Dina L'Machus Dina is because they were makabel meritzonam as all malchusa. That's the pshat. Sherei skimu alav, the Rambam writes. The Rashbam says makablim alem meritzonam chukei hamelech. So pshat is they agree to it, not that it's his land and my house, you have to live under my rules. But pshat is that they agreed, they were maskim. Once they're maskim, then they have to accept the laws. And so too, if it's a democratic country, so they accepted the laws, then you have to follow their laws. The laws that were made, that was the agreement. The only thing is that there's a Ran in Yidarim, Chav Chesam and Aleph B'Shem Tosfos, who says that Dafka B'Malchei Akum, we say Dina L'Machus Dina, because the land belongs to him. And he can say to them that if you don't do what I say, I'm going to kick you out of my land. But Malchei Yisrael, no, because Eretz Yisrael, you can't kick somebody out of Eretz Yisrael. So the Ran says that it was only Gaisha kings, but not in Eretz Yisrael. In Eretz Yisrael, Malchei Yisrael in Eretz Yisrael, you can't do it because This land belongs to everybody. It doesn't belong to the king. And so writes the Rashba, in the name of Rebbe Eliezer, that b'malchei Yisrael, lav Dina. We don't say Dina l'chusa Dina. Why? De'enu yachal litol mishalem klum. You can't take of theirs anything. V'sheretz Yisrael kol Yisrael shutfim ba. Ve'ein bala melech yosem li shacher. The king doesn't have anything, any more of a stake in the land than the other people do. They're all equal. So there's no Dina l'machusa there. He continues, and he says, "V'tei dalacha the hachihu the ika man the amar b'sanhedrin." You should know this is so because the mandarim Sanhedrin daf chaf kalamar parshas melech aser boy lo nemar li yaram ulevalam. Everything said in the parish of the melech is aser in it, and the parish was only said to scare them. What's parshas hamelech? Shmuel Aleph Perek Ches Psukim Yud Aleph Yud Ches. All the rights of the king. Zemish bar hamelech es benechem yikach. He could take the boys as his servants. And that's been a seichem yikach. The girls also, they're going to do the girls' jobs. They're going to cook and bake and do all the things that women do better than men. And the men are going to do the things that they do. And he's going to be able to take your fields, v'stotechem, v'stoseichem, v'karmechem, v'seichem yikach, etc., etc. So this is the Mishpat HaMelech. So the Rashba writes that if there's a daya that the Melech really isn't mutter to do all those things. It was just said to scare them. Ve'amai table kalei mishum dina l'machusa dina. So why don't we say that it's? How can we say this? Why don't we say it's because of dina l'machusa dina? That he's allowed to do all this because of dina l'machusa dina? The answer is that dina l'machusa dina doesn't apply b'malchei Yisrael. It only applies b'malchei ha'umas. So that's the Ran and the Rashba. So the Choras Ran v'Rashba in Mechalek between malchei Yisrael and malchei umas ha'olam is only shaykh if the reason is that the land is the king's, so the king can tell everyone what to do, but not Eretz Yisrael, because Eretz Yisrael doesn't belong to the king. In other words, their halacha is like the Rosh. But the Svaras HaRashbam v'Rambam, let's say you follow the Svar of the Rashbam and the Rambam, that the Rashbam and the Rambam, that Pshad and Dina Malchus is not that the land belongs to his, and if you're in his house, you have to do what he says. But Pshad is that they were maskim, they were makabel, so what does it matter whether it's Eretz Yisrael or anywhere else? So the Chora, this whole Svara is only Lefi, what the Rosh said, but not like the Rambam and the Rashbam said. Chasim Sofer and the Tshuvas and Choshen Mishpat and Siman Mem Dalid is omed on this, and he writes that the Svar of the Ran is only Shayich le'inyan Misim u'mechas shematil hamelech al korcham. But when the Ran was speaking, he said what he said, that it doesn't apply in Eretz Yisrael, that's only like a taxes that he forces on the people. Because then you can't say that they want to pay it, that it's nicha lehem l'shalim. Umemela, in Eretz Yisrael, where it's not nicha, when they're not interested, then they don't have to. But the Gabe writes the Chasan Sofer, the Gabe min hagim v'ni musim, the Ran is moide that they have to follow them. Why? Because here it's nichalahu. So when they don't want it, so the king can't say, "Hey, it's my land. I can do whatever I want." They could say, "Yeah, but we don't want." Nah, it's not your land. It's just as much our land. But when it comes to minhagim v'ni musim, even the Ram would be molded that they want that. So if they want that, then there's no difference between Malchei Yisrael and Malchei Akum. However, the Rambam in the fifth paragraph of Chazal Lochi Yud Aleph writes that if a person's mavriach as hameches, he's over mishum gezel, whether it was a Melech Akum, whether it was a Melech Yisrael, and he holds that we say Dina the Malchus Adin, even if it's a Melech Yisrael. And in Pashtus, he's talking even about a Melech Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael, otherwise he should have made a distinction. So the Shitasa, the reason is because Dina Malchus Adin is because they were maskim. And if they were maskim, it's even in Eretz Yisrael. And even le'inyan misim u'meches. They were even makabel that. Chasim Sofer writes they weren't makabel u'meches. The Rambam says that they're living there. They're accepting those are going to be the rules. They're going to accept the taxes the king imposes on them. However, we don't really need to come on to this because the Rambam writes that Kol Amar b'Parshas Melech Mutter bo. He's allowed to do all of that. Everything it says in Parshas Melech. And therefore he can impose taxes on them, whatever he wants. So it's not even totally in that scum of the people, because if you have a Melech, then if you have a Melech, it's not totally in that scum of the people, because Kol Amar Parshas Melech Mutter bo. So he can basically do whatever he wants. So the Ran and the Rashba say that in Eretz Yisrael there's no Dina the Malchus Dina. They held Kol Amar Parshas Melech Asur bo. And therefore they say there's no Dina the Malchus Dina in Eretz Yisrael. The Rambam holds that Kol Amar Parshas Melech Mutter bo, so there is going to be Dina the Malchus Dina in Eretz Yisrael. But Reb Chaim Pelagi, in his Agos Rachamim L'Chaim on the Tshuvas the Rashban Chelakei Kuf Tzadiches, asks on the Rashban the Darim, who brings the Das Baalei Atosus, that in Eretz Yisrael there's no Dina the Malchus Dina because it's shaykh to all of the Jewish people. But the Rashban is Tshuvas in Chelak Gimel Siman Kuf Tes. It appears that he holds the halacha that Kol Amar Parshas Melech Mutter bo. So how can that be? That on one hand in Eretz Yisrael there's no Dina the Malchus Dina, on the other hand Kol Amar Parshas Melech Mutter bo. So of course there's Dina Malchus Dina. He's in charge. So Chaim Pelagi says a chiddush that Kol Amar Parshas Melech Mutter bo is only in Chutz La'aretz, but it's not in Eretz Yisrael. But how can you say such a thing? The whole Parshas Melech was said in Eretz Yisrael. Shmuel was talking to the Jewish people. They wanted a king in Eretz Yisrael. So they say that it's talking about Chutz La'aretz. Can't be. So we still have a kasha. If Kol Amar Parshas Melech Mutter bo, so how do we say that in Eretz Yisrael it's not shaykh to have Dina the Malchus Dina? It's a kasha in the Rashba. So we can answer as follows: that the Rav Stetner says that Tosfos writes in Sanhedrin, and the Chaf on the Beis, that Parshas Melech was only said on a king that was Nimlach al Kol Yisrael v'Yehuda Me'is HaMakom, was appointed king on all of the Jewish people from God, and therefore Acha was Nanash and Nevos, and what he did to Nevos the Carmeli, because Achav was not a Melech al Yehuda, and therefore he had no right to do what he did, and he wasn't Me'is HaMakom, wasn't a proper king, and also emerges from the Rambam in Hilchos Melachim Perek Aleph Halacha Ches. He says, Navi Shehemin Melech Mishar Shiftei Yisrael, Harei Melech V'chol Mitzvos HaMalchus Noah goes bo, Afal Pisha Ikar HaMalchus LeDavid, that a Navi is Mamid HaMelech from other Shvatim, he's a king, and all the Mitzvah HaMalchus are Noah bo, even though the Ikar HaMalchus is David. So you see that if a Melech is Oimid B'loi Navi, he doesn't have Mitzvos HaMelech. The Ramban in Parshas Vayechi, Mentes, Yud, writes that Malchei Bas Chashmonai were Nanash, because even though they were Chasidei Elam, because they were Molech, and they weren't Mizera Yehuda, Mibeis David, and they were Meiser Shevet U'Mechokek Mishevet Yehuda, but Yasser Shevet Yehuda Mechok Pein Raglav, and they were over on that. V'Hemochu Shelo Al Pi Navi, Shebebayis Sheni Paska HaNavua, they were Molech Shelo Al Pi Navi, that in Bayis Sheni Navua ceased. Like it says in Bava Basra, and Daf Yudalid, Amud Beis, Chagei Zechayim Malachi Sof Neviim, and Rashi, and Yuma, Chav Beis Amud Beis, Miktasheni Lo Haitzer Ruach HaKodesh. There was no longer Nevuah, like Rabbeinu Chananel says there. So these Malachim were Molech Shelo Al Pi Navi, and they didn't have, there wasn't Shaykh in them, Kol Hanem or Parshas Melech. If you're not Molech Al Pi Navi, then you don't have the Parsha of Melech. The only thing is their din should have been a din al Dina the Malchus Dina. So in that, the Ran and the Rashba said that in Eretz Yisrael it's not Shaykh Dina the Malchus Dina, because it's a Yerusha L'Kol Yisrael. But those Malachim that were appointed in Eretz Yisrael Al Pi Navi, it's Pashat that we say Dina the Malchus Dina. The Cholamar Parshas Melech Mutter bo. So for the Kasha. Kasha was, how can the Rashba say that in Eretz Yisrael there's no Dina the Malchus Dina? Rashba Paskins Cholamar Parshas Melech Mutter bo. The answer is that Parshas Melech, if he's a proper king, he's properly appointed Al Pi Navi, Al Yehuda Yisrael. But if it's not, then there's obviously Parshas Melech isn't said about him, and about him you would say, but there's still Dina the Malchus Dina. Kamashman that there isn't in Eretz Yisrael. There's no Dina l'malchus Dina because this land belongs to us all. So Kumtais, it emerges. That's even in a Medina that doesn't have a king, just that's a democratically chosen government. We also say Dina l'malchus Dina, Hein mitaymo shel rosh v'haran, that the land belongs to them and you have to follow their rules. And even though they don't kick anybody out if they don't keep the rules, but they definitely punish him, they negate his rights, they can put him in jail, etc. Fine him. So according to the Heilige Rosh and Ran, it'd be Dina l'malchus Dina. And also according to the Rambam and the Rashbam, there'd be Dina l'malchus Dina. The people accept it upon themselves. They have to follow what the king says, what the rulers say. And therefore it emerge, Pashtus, like we all know, that there's Dina l'malchus Dina. Today, it's even noig b'zman hazeh. So as we saw in Eretz Yisrael's machlokas, certainly in Chutz La'aretz, this shadow took place in Chutz La'aretz. So he would follow the Dina l'malchus Dina. However, this discussion is not over yet. Tambalo Nishlam. There's obviously tons more to say on this topic. And we will conclude here, and we will hope we can have this part 2, and we wish ourselves that we should be self alil modu lamed lishmor lasos. L'kaim is called divrei Yisrael to us we have amen. Shalom, shalom, sweetest, most beloved friends.